What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful day today. Beautiful day. And I have some Starbucks coffee here. Get the Mermaid. And a friend of mine yesterday texted me an ad for Krispy Kreme. I guess they have these Halloween specials there for donuts. And my wife also saw the ad because I sent it to her. And today, somehow we ended up getting these. My wife got these special treats, and we're gonna try it out. I'm gonna try it out. I don't know what this is. Some kind of scary looking thing. I will tell you how it is. How do you think? Very good. The idea is to eat the sweet stuff first, ruin your appetite, and then lose weight that way, right? You eat this before dinner, and you eat less dinner. When I was a kid, I liked, was a honey dip donut, Dunkin' Donuts. And every once in a while I would get up and I'd say, you know what, I'm taking a day off today from school, just a day off, and I would go downtown where there was a Dunkin' Donuts. And back then, you know, you'd look at everybody grown up, looked like they were working at an office or something. They were all in their suits. Women had their nice fur jackets on. And there I was, waiting in line, hoping that they would call on me because, you know, adults, they cut. When you're little, you don't want to be rude and say, hey, I was next. You didn't notice me. So I would go in there, and you know what? Coffee back then, okay, this is like $5, but coffee back then was 35 cents. I really don't think they made any profit off of that. Then somebody got smart and said, overcharge them, let's make up for the losses. Now it's like 5 something. So I would go there and I would get a small coffee, which was like 3 tablespoons, and then I would get a honey dip or a honey dip donut, and it would be freezing out. So I would walk. I'd cut through the park on the other side, and I would be drinking my extra hot coffee and eating my donut, small bites, because I was enjoying it. And in those days I would get on the subway system and go all over the city. I was on the subway all the time back then, and then I would make a stop at my favorite train stop. And back then my favorite train stop had a Dunkin' Donuts, you know, and I would go there and I would say, give me a honey dip. And they'd give me a little bag, and then I'd go in the corner and eat it. Nothing beats a donut when you're really hungry and you're broke and you only have like $1 on you. I think back then they were 69 cents for a donut. So I would get a donut and eat it slowly. They were good back then. I don't know, I haven't had one of those in a while. And then I remember lemon sticks. This place used to make them so good. They were, you know, kind of twisted a little bit, and they'd fill them up with this lemon cream inside. It was such a good combination. Those I haven't found. I have no idea who makes that stuff. But yeah, I'd skip to school there. It took guts to skip. I mean, your brain not fully developed as a kid, so you take chances that you wouldn't take as an adult. And now, thinking about it, they could have called your house. Hey, where's your son? Why isn't he in school today? Is he sick? Nobody called. Although I would call in and tell them my son's not coming in today. And they would say, oh, okay, I'll jot that down. So yeah, adventures. Had a lot of adventures growing up. It's pretty good. My father would take me every Sunday or Saturday in the wintertime, car wash, and freezing out. We'd go to the car wash, and he would hand the keys over, and they would drive it through the automated system, and then on the other side you'd go and wait in a booth without any heat. They were really cheap back then. They should have had a heater in there. And you'd freeze, and and it felt to me as a kid 15 minutes or 20 minutes to do the vacuuming. It just felt like hours. And the guy would add some nice spray in there. It would smell really nice when you would get back in. And then right after that, my father would say to me, "You want a steak and cheese?" Other places they call them cheese steaks, but we said steak and cheese. And I'd say, yeah, because we knew this place. A little hole in the wall. Had a counter. You'd go in and you order, and then they'd hand it to you and you'd leave. But it was the best tasting steak and cheese ever. Just so good. I miss that. I don't think they're in business anymore. But it was a hole in the wall in the rough part of town. But somehow my father discovered this place and would stop there and get my father would always get it plain. He would say, plain steak, give me a plain steak. And I would say, I want some cheese on that, put some cheese. But it was so good, so good. Some people, they have the right formula, right cut of meat, and they would add the garlic and a few other items in there that were a secret, and it was so good, so good. Nice day today. You feel fall in the air, but then all of a sudden, it gets hot. You feel the heat. Yep. Anyway, to me, time is relentless. Just keeps moving on. Every day, just boom, over, boom, over, boom, over. Before you know it, the month is gone. It's like a weird concept. But you couldn't have it any other way. Well, how could you have time going any other way? Slow it down. Everybody's walking by in slow motion, like Steve Austin. It's a weird thing. Everything is constantly moving. Time is constantly moving. You're only at this moment just for that moment, and then it's over, and then you're in the next moment, and then that's over. And then your birthday is here, and then you go, oh, my birthday was a few months back. And then the year is over, and then it's New Year's again, and then Christmas time is over, and then you're opening the prizes again, and then the tree is coming down, the tree is going up. It's like we're on a film reel. Somebody's just messing with it. I remember, like Thanksgiving especially, when you would go to the same house every year. Right? It felt like it was the same day. It felt like the same exact day. Like you were there and no in-between time had passed. Especially if you went to a house that did the same exact routine. Like they would bring out the same hors d'oeuvres. They would sit you at the same place every year. You'd eat dinner at the same time. It just felt like the same day. And the in-between time felt like nothing. And then you'd get back to normal again the next day. I had a teacher in high school, history teacher, and he was an older guy, and he would say to us, the students, meaning lifetime, goes like this, he would say, it goes like this. Missed that last snap, how to get it. So that was his line, it goes like this. And he's right, here I am. I was in high school not too long ago. It felt like not too long ago, and now here I am. I was in first grade not too long ago, and now here I am. Like I time traveled all through that, and I arrived here instamatically. It's weird. But I remember him in high school saying it goes like this. So one day I was up by the courthouses driving across, and they noticed me. Somebody I knew noticed me, and I look over and they're already looking at me because they noticed me ahead of me noticing them. And they said, hey, it goes like this. And this was like 10, 12 years after high school had finished. When I tell them, everything goes like that. The whole thing. A couple of winks here and there. And now while you're going through it, you know, you notice the passage of time is going slow. Like if somebody says you have to wait here for the next bus for 2 hours, it would go slow. But if I, as a kid, were in an arcade right now, playing Defender, right, time would go fast. I remember playing Defender. What an addiction that was. I loved Defender. It's good hand-eye coordination. I remember Sugar Ray Leonard training, and because he had that detached retina that they repaired, he would play Pac-Man a lot, and he said it would improve his hand-eye coordination, which is true. But I played a lot of Defender, Time Pilot 84, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Galaxy, you name it, I played it. But Defender, that was my specialty. And I'll tell you what else. Smash TV. Oh, I loved Smash TV. I used to play that for hours, literally, because you could keep adding quarters. If you lost all your guys, it would give you a chance to continue, which is clever, very clever on the. I think it was Williams that made that game, my favorite arcade game maker. So I would play that until I got to the end and I beat the beast, and then it would tally up all the cash you collected, all the prizes. I love that game, Smash TV. Check it out on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about. Awesome action. Get the blades going, get the machine guns, everything. You know, if I had that in the house, I actually have arcade games in the house, but I don't have that one. I would be there all day. I would be like a zombie playing all day. But it does improve cognition and hand-eye coordination. It's good for thinking, you know. So I used to play video games like you can't imagine. I don't mean the ones on your phone where it's teeny weeny and you need a microscope to look at the image. I'm talking about the full-size 1980s technology. I used to play that so much. You know, I mean, there's one that eludes me, the name of it, but it came out in the late 80s, and a friend of mine, we would go to the arcade, you know, we'd walk there together. It was a arcade bowling alley type thing, and we'd play all the usual games, the karate game, you know, the 1 point, half point. We'd play kung fu, whatever. We'd play that, and then every few screens you had to like chop blocks or smash the bull. Play that a lot. Love that game. But we would go there. One day we were there after school. LAPD. Oh, that's a plane. That's way up there. We were there after school, and they had brought in this brand new game, and me and him got hooked to it because it spoke to us. So this thing was, it was like a highway system, and you were this car, and you had to jump over these things to avoid, you know, crashing. But then there were other things that you would land on top of, and it would give you more power, more speed. And then there were missing sections of these bridges. You had to hit the jump button and clear it. And from what I knew back then, me and him were the only ones playing that game. and we would play it for hours. But I really got hooked on after. I went through the first phase, which was Defender. I was hooked on that. But then I got hooked on Time Pilot 84. Even now, if I see that somewhere, I have to play it. But I'm a big fan of Time Pilot 84. Oh, there's a cat. So now you don't have to go anywhere. Now they sell those things you can have in your home. Good coffee. Yep. We're gonna eat soon. It's another concept. Eating every few hours. Let's say I am the designer. I have the capability to design things from scratch. And let's say I created life. I would not create life that was constantly hungry or needed food every so often. Since I'm creating the rules, right? I would create it with such efficiency that you would breathe air maybe, and that would be enough. You'd pull the molecules out of the air, and that would be the energy you would need. Or I would make it based on sunlight, like plants, photosynthesis. I would do it that way. Or if I couldn't do that for whatever reason, maybe I was a limited creator, right? I would make it so everything you ate, you would pull out 100% of the energy out of it. So you could eat like pistachio nut, little one, teeny weeny one like that big, and it would provide you energy and allow you to live for 3 months. 3 months. That way you eliminate the hunger problem. You know, somebody's hungry, you say, oh, here's a pistachio. You're good for 3 months. Go home. Right? Or you'd give them a whole bag, like a 5-pound bag. You say, this is for your lifetime. Just eat pistachio 1 every 3 months. But we're not efficient. You know, we're not efficient at all. I mean, there's so many things that contain a lot of energy if you eat them, but the human body is not that efficient. It doesn't pull out all the energy. So you have to eat every 3 to 4 hours, except at night when you're sleeping, right? Everything slows down then. But I always found that, you know, like if I had creation powers where I could speak things into existence, right? Let's go with that ridiculous thing. So if I could speak things into existence, I would create things that were very efficient in terms of energy usage, or they would be able, my fillings are going to fall out with that bass. That bass is not good bass. Any person can play 2 notes on a keyboard and produce that bass sound. You got to play the real bass, electric bass. You know, the kind that looks like a guitar, and you're plucking away here, and then you're going down deep. Yeah, that's what I mean. Or up here somewhere for the deep sound. Not that down, 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 down. It's not. That's not talent to play the bass like that, though. I'm a big fan of the bass. I love the bass. I will crank up the bass level on my stereo just so I can hear the bass line. Just so I can hear the bass line. You know, I went to see U2, and the bass was so high, I lost a few fillings. Yeah, but I love, when I hear music, I want to hear the drums. Obviously I want to hear everything mixed correctly, but I want the bass and the drums to be a bit higher than usual, you know. I love thick bass and nice solid drum. That's what I appreciate. And I want the bass to be crisp. I don't want the extra distortion where it just blends everything together. No, I don't want that. I want it to be a strong, thick bass, but I want it to, you know, to be like isolated sounding. All right. But I've always been a fan of the bass. It drives the song. Up there, here come the crows. These crows have a memory. You know, if like a crow goes by and you give them the finger, right, that crow will remember you for doing that, and it will pass on that information to its offspring, so the offsprings hate you too. I don't know how they do that, how they communicate that, but they have that ability. Quiet, you know, with the horn. And, you know, another thing, I was always thinking, I got a decent horn. It's a truck, you know, it has a decent horn. You know, what is it, F flat? But I want to get a freight train horn and put it in here. You ever hear one of those? Yeah, even when you prepare yourself, like, you know, this conductor is gonna blow the horn, so I know it's coming, so I don't want to jump 10 feet up in the air. It still startles you, you know, it still gives you that, you know, that feeling inside. You feel startled. But yeah, because I go down the freight trains and I check them out, and they always like, you know, and it's very bassy, which I like. But I like to put it in my truck. Cadillacs in the 70s had horns like that. Not quite as loud, but that style. So I loved hearing a Cadillac horn. They didn't do it for any other car. Like a Lincoln did not have a horn like that. It had a regular horn. But the Cadillac had that low, and it looked like multiple horns at once. Love the Cadillac horn. I don't know if they got rid of it or if the new Cadillacs have it, like the Escalade, I don't know. I do go to the car show, not every year, but I have been to quite a few, and I love checking out the new technology. I love sitting in the new cars and checking them out. Big fan of that. But I love hearing the horns too. Remember for a while in the 80s, if the car was small, they would put a wimpy horn in there. I would do the opposite. If you had a small car, I would put a horn like from a freight train or a cargo ship, you know, just to throw people off. They say, that sound came from that car? Yes, it did. But yeah, I'd like to get a freight train horn and put it in here. I may do that. Anyway, I'm gonna start dinner before it gets too dark. Capiche? That's it for now. Ciao.